protect veterans and that they will offer protection.
Well, can I thank him for his question, and I know how deeply he feels about these issues. The bill, as he knows, will put in place new measures designed specifically to protect veterans. These safeguards have been developed with veterans in mind after carefully listening to their concerns. They have no respect at all, have they, for this issue? We've been meeting with veterans' organisations and listening to their views, and when the bill reaches the committee stages, the House will see the result of those considerations, and you'll be pleased to hear that. We're determined to ensure protections are as fair and effective as possible, recognising the role that service personnel played in keeping people across the UK safe during the Troubles, and I thank him for his question.
Rachel Muskell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Having met with many independent business owners, they fear the cumulative impact of the rateable value revision and relief reductions. In York, hospitality sees an average business rate rise of 41%, a music venue 44.4%, and many independent shops increases around 27%. It will mean doors closing and trade ceasing. They just can't do it. So could the Prime Minister urgently review the business rate proposals, and will he ensure a minister or official attends my business rate summit at the end of January, as I want to avert a crisis on York's High Street?
Can I thank her for raising that issue? As she knows, during COVID, the rates went down, and that was coming to an end. And that's why we put in place interim relief as we move to the new rates. Mr. Speaker, we are continuing to work with and talk to the sector on that support and what further support and action we can take.
Sir Albee.
Mr. Speaker, the period after Christmas can be a challenging time for many people, and consequently the month of January consistently sees higher rates of suicide than at other times of the year. But suicide is preventable and lives can be saved. Education, raising awareness, targeting vulnerable groups are all effective suicide prevention strategies, and I was pleased to see them in the recent Men's Health Strategy. But I'm calling on the Government to go a step further and to launch a public health campaign to encourage discussions about suicidal thoughts and ideations. So will the Prime Minister agree to continue this conversation with me, and will he state his support for a public health campaign to tackle the worryingly high number of deaths from suicide in this country?
Can I thank her for raising this issue and assure her that we want to work with all colleagues across the House on this crucial issue, and it's in our interest to do so. We did, as she said, launch the first ever men's health strategy, announcing over £3.5 million into supporting suicide prevention support programmes, recruiting over 7,000 mental health workers, including access to talking therapies, rolling out mental health support teams in schools. It is vital that we raise awareness and increase the support available, and I can assure her ministers would be happy to discuss her proposals with her, because I genuinely want to work across the House on this really serious and tragic issue.
Masterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was very pleased to hear that the government's latest announcement about the rollout of the chickenpox vaccine. This, of course, is in stark contrast to the vaccine conspiracy theories being peddled by Reform. Does my right honourable friend agree that it is only with a Labour government that healthcare in this country is safe, and that Reform must never, ever be in a position to be responsible for the health of this country?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased about the measures we're able to announce this week. Of course, that comes on top of the 5 million extra appointments that we've delivered in the first year of a Labour government, and 300,000 taken off the waiting list, and more to come as we turn the year into 2026. But he's absolutely right. They laugh at the denial of the importance of vaccines. Imagine where this country would be if they ever saw power. And if you want an example, or to be like, look at the local councils where they won power. They're absolutely chaotic, in a mess, and putting taxes up.
Peter Bedford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unlike many of his parliamentary colleagues, I don't actually think the Prime Minister should resign. But with the start of a new year, it's time to reflect, reset, detox, if you will, on his government's appalling economic policies and tax rises, particularly business rates and the impact it's having on the hospitality sector. Now, will the Prime Minister commit to doing that today?
Mr. Speaker, I'll reflect on the fact that inflation is falling and the Bank of England says that it's going to be down to target. I'll reflect on the fact we've had 6 interest rate cuts in a row. Mortgages, those with mortgages will be hugely effective. I'll reflect on the fact the IMF say we're going to have the second highest growth in 2025, defying the forecast. And I'd remind them that under them we had inflation at 11%, the worst Parliament on living standards on record, and the Leader of the Opposition thinks that Liz Truss was 100% right to crash the economy. They're literally the only people who think that anybody should be listening to them. Nobody is.
John Baxter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Adrian Howe was a successful and dedicated Vodafone store manager of over 20 years. In 2017, he was offered the opportunity to take on a franchise of one of their thriving stores. But then the goalposts changed, and he was then forced to take on a struggling store. And just days before he was due to open that store, Adrian stepped into a lake and didn't ever return home. Adrian's wife and widow, my constituent Tracy, is wondering if the Prime Minister will review franchising legislation to ensure there is a balance of power between companies and their franchisees so that nobody else feels undue pressure when they take on a franchise.
Well, can I thank her, and I speak for the whole House in saying I'm deeply sorry to hear about this tragic case, and all of our thoughts are with the family. Obviously, there's a live legal case I can't comment on, but I can reassure her that we'll look closely at the final outcome of that case. There are strong rules in place, but we will look at the outcome of the case to see whether there's more that can be done.
Alison Griffiths.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Late last year, the cargo vessel Baltic Clipper lost 16 containers off the beautiful West Sussex coastline. Beaches and seas in my Bognor Regis and Littlehampton constituency have been polluted with toxic debris. The clean-up was initiated and led almost exclusively by resolute local volunteers. So will the Prime Minister join me in paying tribute to all those involved for their extraordinary efforts? And will he, or the relevant minister, meet with me to ensure that the coastline is restored and that local taxpayers will not pick up any costs?
Well, let me join her in paying tribute to the agencies and the local volunteers who supported the clean-up efforts. They're the very best, and I do pay tribute to them and join her in doing that. Liability sits with the polluter, and agencies and her local authority should work with the responsible party to recover the costs. I will make sure that she gets the meeting that she has asked it for with the appropriate minister.
Ian Hamilton.
Mr. Speaker, I recently met with bereaved constituents who lost their babies at Leeds Teaching Hospital's NHS Trust. Now, understandably, their confidence in the system is at an all-time low, and they want answers about the circumstances in which at least 56 babies and 2 mothers have died in recent years. So will the Prime Minister update the House on what steps he is taking to ensure that an inquiry uncovers the factors which led to these deaths, to confirm Donna Ockenden as chair of that inquiry, and to join me in paying tribute to the courageous families campaigning to ensure that nobody has to suffer the same tragedy again?
Well, can I start by saying every mother and baby deserves safe, high-quality, compassionate care. And I want to see the inquiry at Leeds start as soon as possible. We're working with bereaved families to shape our approach and to appoint a chair who they can trust, as he knows. I have a huge amount of respect for Donna Ockenden. She's an outstanding advocate for families. We'll make sure that we select a chair of the highest standard who has the independence and expertise needed to deliver the real change that is needed.
Angus MacDonald.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, according to the Office for National Statistics, 174,000 people under the age of 35 moved abroad in the year ending June 2025. In the Highlands, this problem is especially acute. Demographic statistics show that young people are not staying in the rural communities. Pupil numbers are down by 40 to 50% at the schools over the last 20 years. Rural depopulation and youth emigration are two sides of the same story: lack of opportunity. We have a demographic crisis. What is the Prime Minister doing to ensure the UK offers strong apprenticeship and skills pathways for young people? And does he agree that the SNP's failure in Scotland, diverting away £170 million intended for apprenticeships and skills development, shows exactly what happens when opportunity is not delivered?
Well, can I thank him in turn? Alongside the record settlement that we've put in place for the Scottish Government, we're delivering huge investment in apprenticeships and offer a paid placement for every young person, which is vitally important. The SNP, on the other hand, blocked a welding facility in the Clyde because apparently it was related to defence. They don't back Scottish industry, young people or national security. We do.
Babcock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government is tackling patient waiting lists through NHS modernisation and reform. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that we need to tackle victim waiting lists by reforming our courts and criminal justice system?
Prime Minister.
Yes, I do, Mr. Speaker, and I've been working with victims of violence against women and girls for the best part of 20 years, and I've assured them time and again that if we get the opportunity, we would make the system work better for them. They have to wait far too long for justice, and in many cases they don't see justice at all. I'm absolutely determined that we're going to turn that around.
Final question, Winnie Morton.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised not to bulldoze the countryside, but under Labour, green fields in Aldridge Brownhills, Donald Road, Birch Lane and Bosty Lane are now under threat. Will he accept that his housing target can be met without destroying our farmland and our countryside, but by reusing empty homes and brownfield land? Or was this just yet another promise he never meant to keep?
We're not going to plough through farmland. We're going to make sensible proposals to build houses, something they failed to do in 14 long years. So young people now have not got the dream of home ownership because the inheritance we got from them. We're going to turn that around.
Right, that completes Prime Minister's questions. Let the front bench change over.